Vol returned to the country, arriving in Kano on Thursday aboard 2 Sky Mali flights from Agadez in the Republic of Niger. The returnees were reported to have touched down at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport in 2 batches. Represented by the Commission's Kano State Coordinator, Mrs. Luba Lehman, the Federal Commissioner of NCFRMI, Aliyu Tijani, explained that the operation formed part of ongoing efforts to ensure the safe and dignified return of Nigerians stranded abroad. The first flight arrived at around 12:50 p.m. with 116 passengers, while the second landed about 4:35 p.m. with 147 persons, the majority being young men alongside a few women and children. To ensure the safe return of those affected, the exercise was facilitated under the Assisted Voluntary Return and Reintegration Program of the International Organization for Migration in collaboration with the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. On arrival, the returnees were taken to the Nigerian Immigration Service Training School in Kano for documentation and profiling, with exercise emphasizing that the repatriation was strictly voluntary and followed due consultations with the migrants. Now, this report just coming in actually indicates a developing situation where former national chairman of the ruling All Progressives Congress, who is now a chieftain of the opposition African Democratic Congress, Chief John Odige Onyegu, has announced the endorsement of former Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amaechi by political leaders in the South for the ADC presidential ticket in the 2027 general elections. Speaking during Amaechi's visit to the group of regional leaders, Odige Onyegu disclosed that the former Rivers State governor has formally informed them of his intention to contest the presidency. He says, in the process, we are glad that our son, His Excellency Chibuike Amaechi, took advantage of this meeting to brief us formally of his intention to run for the presidency of our great nation. Odige Onyegu commended Amaechi for what he described as respect for regional leadership and political consultation before launching his ambition. According to him, the leaders have reached a unanimous decision to support Amaechi's presidential bid. Odige Onyegu disclosed, we were pleased and I can report that a unanimous decision was made and taken to give Amaechi all the support that he needs in pursuit of his ambition. He further revealed that the group plans to hold regular meetings aimed at strengthening collaboration among political stakeholders in the South region. Odige Onyegu also emphasized the need for peaceful political activities as preparations for the 2027 elections gather momentum, urging authorities and stakeholders to promote stability and avoid violence. Peter Obi was sidelined in this regard, where the ADC South caucus endorsed Rotimi Amaechi. They disclosed that they remain conscious of limited time before the elections and are committed to their political objectives. Supporters of the ADC have called out the ADC leadership of working very fast in mobilizing as well as choosing a presidential candidate. There have been questions since Rotimi Amaechi has been endorsed as the presidential candidate for the South in the ADC. Others have asked what exactly is going on in the midst of Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar, as well as other stakeholders in the ADC. Now, Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed today held a closed-door meeting with President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. The meeting came amid growing rumors of possible political realignment by some opposition governors. However, the discussion centered on security challenges in Bauchi State, especially the worsening situation in Alkaledi local government area. Governor Mohammed briefed the president on renewed bandit attacks that have forced several communities to flee their homes. He raised concerns over the activities of armed groups operating from forest areas in Wana, Kafin Duguri, Mansur, Yalo, Futuk and Digari. According to the governor, thousands of armed terrorists are believed to have taken control of ungoverned forest zones. He said the attackers now launch regular raids, recruit local youth and former illegal miners, and push families to seek safety in nearby states including Gombe. The security situation worsened on February 22 when terrorists attacked a joint task force base in Wana. 2 soldiers and a vigilante member were killed during the assault. Several residents were also abducted. Security forces later neutralized some of the attackers during counter operations. Governor Mohammed disclosed that he has visited the affected communities repeatedly to assess the damage and encourage local vigilantes. He praised residents for standing their ground, but stressed that the scale of the crisis requires stronger Federation intervention. Supporters of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC today took to the streets of Abuja in a show of solidarity with the electoral body amid growing debate over the newly enacted Electoral Act 2026. The protest, organized by the Arewa Grassroots Leaders Assembly, began at the National Assembly Complex and ended at INEC headquarters. Participants carried placards, chanted messages backing the commission and its leadership ahead of preparations for the 2027 general elections. The demonstration followed the Senate's decision to reject calls for another amendment to the Electoral Act 2026. Pressure for a review had intensified after opposition figures including Atiku Abubakar, Rotimi Amaechi, and Mr. Peter Obi described the law as unfriendly to democracy, demanded urgent changes. However, lawmakers advised critics of the act to follow constitutional and legislative channels rather than mounting public pressure on the commission. Addressing journalists at the protest ground, AGLA National President Collins Onogu said the gathering was meant to encourage the commission, which is INEC, rather than condemn it. He said, "We have gathered peacefully today at the headquarters of INEC to lend our voices not in condemnation but in commendation. This is a solidarity protest to INEC." Onogu praised the current leadership of INEC, noting that recent elections conducted under the new management had recorded visible improvements. He said the commission has successfully organized the Anambra governorship elections, the FCT council elections, and by-elections in Kano and Rivers State within a short period. According to him, these polls were largely peaceful and transparent, with improved coordination and use of technology. Justice Belgore has transmitted the case file of the fundamental human rights enforcement suit filed by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai to the Chief Judge of the Federal Capital Territory for reassignment. This development follows the judge's decision to proceed on leave. The court had on Wednesday, February 25, adjourned proceedings to Friday to hear El-Rufai's bail application. However, at Friday's sitting, Justice Belgore disclosed that he will be proceeding on leave and consequently returned the case file of the FCT Chief Judge for reassignment to another judge. The suit was instituted to enforce El-Rufai's fundamental human rights against the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the Department of State Services, and the Attorney General of the Federation. According to a statement issued by his media advisor, Muyiwa Adeke, on February 27, El-Rufai has been in custody since he voluntarily reported to the EFCC on Monday, February 16, 2026. The statement added that he was later moved to the custody of the ICPC on the 9th of February 18. The reassignment of the case means a new date for the hearing of the bail application is expected to be fixed once the matter is allocated to another judge. El-Rufai's legal team is seeking the enforcement of his rights amid his continued detention by anti-graft agencies. Now, Bauchi State Governor has maintained his stance of remaining in the opposition PDP amid the wave of defection to APC. Bala Mohammed made this disclosure today after the closed-door meeting with the president. He said that he was there to brief the president on the security situation in Bauchi State, calling it a time bomb. The ADC has rejected the new 2027 election timetable released by the Independent National Electoral Commission. The ADC, in a statement today by its National Publicity Secretary, Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, said the revised timetable was craftily designed to hand advantage to the President and the ruling All Progressives Congress. The party argued that the revised timetable does not provide a level playing field as it has given the incumbent administration a one-year head start. The ADC also rejected the 2026 Electoral Act, arguing that it was put together to serve President Tinubu's self-secession project. Abdullahi submitted that the ADC rejected both the revised timetable and amended Electoral Act because they were designed to achieve a predetermined end of handing power back to the incumbent government. According to the timetable, primaries are now to be conducted between April 23 and 30th May 2026, just 55 days to 92 days from today. However, it is more significant in that pursuant to Section 77 subsection 4 of the Electoral Act 2026, political parties are required to submit their digital membership registers to INEC not later than the 2nd of April 2026, that is only 34 days away. Section 77 subsection 7 further provides that any party that fails to submit its membership register within the stipulated time shall not be eligible to field a candidate for that election. These are not housekeeping rules that deliberately constructed barriers to exclude opposition from partaking in the upcoming elections. A prominent Plateau critic, Reverend Ezekiel Dachomo, who is also a cleric, has accused the National Security Advisor, Mr. Nuhu Ribadu, of blocking the deployment of United States soldiers to Plateau State. He made the claim while speaking during the burial of 7 people killed in an attack on Dorowa Babuja village. The cleric lamented that they would no longer flee and would rather fight and die. He says, "We're not going to run away again. If there will be a full-blown war, it will start from today. We have chosen to die rather than continue burying our brothers." The cleric accused armed Fulani militias of attacking Plateau communities and said residents were prepared to defend themselves. He also claimed that local people were no longer afraid of security forces. Reverend Dachoma further blamed Ribadu, alleging that he blocked the deployment of U.S. soldiers to Plateau State. He also mentioned the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Sa'ad Abubakar, claiming there was a broader plan against Christians in Plateau and other parts of Nigeria. In his remarks, the cleric questioned why U.S. troops were reportedly deployed to northern states such as Sokoto, Borno, Kaduna, and Bauchi, but not to Plateau. He says, "When I invited Trump to help us," and he responded, "none of the U.S. soldiers were sent to Plateau." Reverend Dachomo also alleged that insurgents fleeing military operations in other regions had moved into some Plateau communities. He named areas such as Manda, Fars, Okunlindiri, and Lingeri areas, claiming they were being used as bases for attacks. Despite his criticism, he acknowledged that local security forces responded swiftly during the recent attacks. Former advisor to the president on political matters, Hakim Baba Ahmed, has stated that the present administration has indeed denigrated Nigeria. He made this statement during an appearance on a Monitor television program while speaking about the United States intervention in the country's insecurity situation. Baba Ahmed lamented that Tinubu's administration has handed Nigeria over to the United States. The former aide said Tinubu's government has pitched the citizens against each other and virtually turned Nigeria into a colony. He noted that a team which had previously visited Nigeria to investigate alleged genocide against Christians intensified its efforts approaching the U.S. president. According to him, the group's aim, influenced by the American far right and powerful Nigerian lobbyists in the U.S., appears to be to denigrate Nigeria, sow discord, and essentially relegate Nigeria to the status of a colony. You're currently listening to the World News right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I currently have Mr. Elvis Alimehele right here in the studio to actually give us his perspective on the analysis of the news analysis segment of the World News today. Mr. Elvis, good evening. How are you?
Good evening, Esther. Good.
Wow, you saw what happened yesterday. We heard that INEC has shifted the timetable now to January 16, and also that membership, digital membership of opposition members must be submitted by the 2nd of April. We do know the only political party that is registered that supposedly knew well ahead of time is the APC. I mean, we saw the massive registration of its members. In fact, there was a re-registration of APC members digitally. Well, Nindetawa actually said the APC has recorded a lot of members, like tons of members have joined. Meanwhile, the ADC is nowhere to be found. They haven't set up a digital membership platform, online registration portals. I think they initiated it, but later there were complaints that persons could not register. They seem not to be properly coordinated, and other opposition parties are dealing with court cases, so they're not prepared. The All Progressives Congress has set up its convention. All the committee members for all the sectors in the party has been put down. Now, let's look at the situation like this. It is possible that the ADC may look for a situation where there'll be a consensus candidate chosen. In fact, the ADC South has endorsed Rotimi Amaechi, sidelining Mr. Peter Obi. And it's funny, actually, because they just had a meeting yesterday. What do you see? How do you see the scenario?
It's a tough one, Esther. It's a winner take all. That's what we are saying. First of all, the registration that the digital registration is it part of INEC guideline?
Which was part of there were a lot of things in that electoral guideline.
Yes,
a lot of persons did not focus on.
Yes,
people were only focused on
the electoral reform.
On the direct transmission on the IRA portal.
Yes,
they were not looking at other aspects of it.
Exactly.
It was after that happened that they now saw other aspects on that, like for example they scrapped out indirect primaries, only direct primaries, all those subtle clauses that they now began to notice.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the opposition have been asked to get themselves together all this while since last year that they announced themselves, and we have gotten to this place. How do you react to this? How do you see this?
It's so funny because the time lack now for any of these political parties to be able to put their house in order to meet this requirement is very, very stringent, especially like what you said in your prologue. Most of the political parties have not even find their house in order. You can, the only one that Nigeria were actually looking onto is the ADC, and the ADC, I'm afraid, because some of the things that are happening in ADC, so that what happened to the bride of 2023, the Labour Party, may not happen to ADC.
Let's not even look at that.
So that's just my fear.
In fact,
I don't know. Well, if this is the only area that Nigerians will actually know if ADC is actually serious. I mean, they still have about 50-something days. If they can actually, put their house together. Digital is not supposed to be something that is so difficult, because even in your home, you can, sign in if you want to be a member of that party. But the only thing is, we have to have a very strong platform because of network problems, and they also have to make sure that all the state capital and even local government headquarters are able to have good representative who will do a lot of propaganda now for them, because as it is, people need to be aware of what is going on. They have to create a lot of awareness. This is where they need more of media report, and even online, and even home to home.
All right, so for the ADC now, they are beginning to endorse. The South has endorsed.
Yeah, this endorsement.
But is Edo State part of South? Because Chijen Oyegun is part of South, right? Yes, yeah. Okay, so they've endorsed Mr. Amaechi. There were talks that while everything was ongoing, Amaechi has been, speaking to the leaders, meeting people to support him. Obviously, who are the Southeast leaders in the ADC? We have, I think, 2 House of Rep members who decamped from the Labour Party to the ADC.
Abaribe is there.
Then, another one, Ume.
Ume is still there. Ume is here. That's
okay.
These are both senators.
Yes, they're both senators. So obviously, but the question is it too late that they're beginning to endorse? I mean, you're having South endorse, Southeast endorse, Northeast. Is that how it's going to be?
Endorsements can come in any form, Esther. But the most important thing is that even after the endorsement, the stronger person, even if South say, okay, we have endorsed Amaechi, if the other geopolitical region says, okay, we are endorsing this, and Amaechi, then I see that South own is like an opposition. It has few members among the other senatorial district.
I don't understand, please.
Okay, yes. Supposing as South are saying they have endorsed Amaechi, Southeast in the ADC, Southeast.
They haven't said anything.
No, Southeast has not said anything. Southwest and North Central and Northeast and Northwest. They've not said anything. If they now come up with their own and say, okay, this is the person, the rest other 5 senatorial districts say, okay, this is the person we are endorsing, which means the South side that endorsed Amaechi is already like an opposition. It has no much members to actually taint Amaechi, like, okay, this is the person we are endorsing and we must go. So it now lies on the person that they are endorsing from the other geopolitical region to be able to actually woo all those Amaechi supporters to say, join me, because he has very few.
But I thought, the thought process was the leadership of the aid, because now they have a very limited time.
No, endorsement is not primary. Endorsement is just support.
They haven't told us if they're even doing a primary. What I'm even trying to say is that is it not something where the leaders of the party come together and say, okay, this is how we have to do it, because they didn't announce any of this. So is this just a personal lobbying system?
No. This one is just endorsement. The party is still going to come up with the system they want to use, either direct or consensus as INEC has spelled.
Is there still time for direct?
There's time. What it just means that everybody that is a card carrying, that's why this registration is important. Now, everybody that is card carrying member of ADC are the one that are going to vote and say this is the person we are.
But now INEC is saying digital registration. Digital membership.
Yes.
And they are yet to put that together. And by the 2nd of April, they ought to submit. If they do not submit, they'll be disqualified.
I don't know how they are going to do, but they just have to see how best possible they can put their feet on ground to be able to, because we never saw this coming, but we saw APC, doing their digital
registration. They were fast. It was like they got a pre-knowledge. It's like they knew.
One of the guidelines that INEC is going to give. But all the time, Amaechi has always been saying that he doesn't even want to be president if he's not a candidate. That he prefers, even if it's a ministerial position in ADC, he will accept it. But why is this sudden change that he has just become a bride now that South member of ADC?
Because it's saying that political members, based on the section of the Electoral Act 2026, section 77, subsection 4, political parties are required to submit their digital membership registers to INEC not later than the 2nd of April 2026. There is no second to not later than the 2nd of April.
That's just barely a month.
That is only 34 days away.
Yes.
Section 77 subsection 7 further provides that any party that fails to submit its membership register within this stipulated time, that's 34 days, they shall not be eligible to field a candidate for that election. So if they don't submit it, no candidate in any of the opposition party aside from the APC, which of which has already chosen the president, would be disqualified from participating. So the ADC decided to call out INEC by saying that this timetable that was released and this electoral act was done for the All Progressives Congress, that it wasn't done for fairness and objectivity, that the administration have used INEC, that is an institution that's meant to be objective, for its personal whims and caprices. And it's like APC knew ahead of time because they were massively registering, not giving the other parties a time frame. Now you now have the situation of 34 days. The ADC has not decided on its membership. They don't even have a portal right now. I think now they will now start trying to register. So yesterday they all came together to organize a press conference to say they reject this. So Nigerians were asking, where were they when Tinubu signed this into law? How come they did not organize this press conference when everybody was protesting at the time? Or didn't they look at these aspects that were porous, the clauses in the Electoral Act? So what is the use of them organizing that press conference yesterday to address what? And then their supporters are literally angry that who are these guys? Are they even sure they're in this current political space? Because they don't seem to want to unseat this government as they claim that they want to. If not for time, I think during the evening rush, I'll play what Amaechi said. Amaechi said something amongst all the things the other leaders said. Amaechi said, when the opposition is ready, then Nigerians will be ready. That was a very crucial statement, telling us that the ADC is not ready. So what is the essence of all the philandering that they're doing if they're not ready?
Esther, that press conference, when I saw it yesterday, I liken it to waking a dead horse, because that matter has actually gone far. I expected that ADC leadership would have been part of that protest before the National Assembly went and signed that, approved that electoral act. Then you see, there was just no time. The president hurriedly signed it. So even after the National Assembly have voted for the electoral act, there was no time for them to have even called that press conference. What I would have expected was that before they even approved it, National Assembly, I would have loved to see more protests. Actually, we saw Amaechi came out. We also saw Obi came out. Then, they just came out individually. If they have come out collectively, like, ADC, condemned this, and they're actually occupying the National Assembly like other Nigerians did, I think we would have had a better way forward. But unfortunately, Esther, what I want to point out here is that even the APC that says no network to transmit, and that's why they came up with both transmitting electronically and manual, are the ones that are even been able to do digital registration of their members nationwide. And you know that also has to do with network. Now they are talking of there is no network in election, but they were able to do their digital registration of their members, nationwide through that same network issues. So you see, they are contradicting issues. They know where they are taking this matter to. They knew what they have already gotten in the INEC guideline before. That's why they hurriedly came out, because even it's not even just the registration, Esther. They started collecting people's PVC, start like cloning it, put in your voter identification number, your NIN number, and all others. Yeah. So they were able to do all this. So this is already like almost like 100% forward behind in the midst of other political parties. They have already gone so far. These political parties that are not prepared now, that have just 32 or 34 days now, how would they be able to put up their platform, put up their portal, and begin to marshal people to say, okay, we're actually going to be part of this registration as quickly as possible? It's an issue. But I don't know how, if this is so important, and if there's no other area to get out of this registration, because many of them will not be able to capture their members as expected.
Mr. Elvis, I personally, I know I'm not supposed to have any input. I am livid. When I saw them talking yesterday, you need to know how I really wanted to respond. It made no sense to me.
No. That press conference has already. There
is no how these people did not know the plan from the beginning, because I don't know how they're calling the APC into this. INEC decided to change the time because the Muslims complained that the period that was initially slated was the fact that it was going to be a Ramadan fast, although it's not meant to be a major thing actually.
No, not at all.
But obviously they listened. Okay, because they were outcry, and most of our politicians are Muslims. If you want to consider a lot of
7 days Adventists also have this cry in 2023. They were
and
not listening
to. Nothing happened. So you can see the disparity, right?
Yes.
But okay, fine. INEC decided to listen to them and put governorship to the 6th of February 2027. Okay, now you decided that you imputed something, digital membership submitted to INEC. In 34 days.
That has never been part of Electoral Act in Nigeria.
Which a lot of persons did not know.
It has never been.
So a lot of things in the Electoral Acts, either they were there, but they were not utilized. And the APC decided to activate it. Activate it now.
Because, opposition.
Maybe not. Yes, one. And secondly, it's to the advantage. They possibly knew about it. There are talks that, okay, they must have influenced the process where it became activated, because it was not something considered in 2023.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going with direct, what do you call it, transmission of results to the IRF portal along with manual, how come all of a sudden you now endorse digital membership to be submitted to
That's
INEC?
what I was trying to say here. That
there's a disparity. Exactly.
Yes. They said no network in some states, but they were able to do digital registration around the whole nation. These are the same people that went to the National Assembly and kick against electronic transmission. So I don't know where they are taking us to, but I think the opposition. This is the time. I expected that the opposition should not even be talking about endorsement and all that to divide their rank. Now they should quickly get their house together and move faster, because if really they want to be part of 2027 general election, because otherwise we'll just see that it's going to be like a one-party affair.
Is that what you see it as now?
Yes, if they don't put their house in order and act fast, because time is of essence, and it's not in their advantage to them any longer
at all.
And the ruling party has already gone too far. Ruling party is already preparing for
convention.
Their
convention. I think is it not next month?
Yes, they are holding their convention in this month, and all the subcommittee for the convention is already set up, and everybody is prepared. So where are the other parties? And I saw a news flash this evening that the Ibadan High Court again has giving it back to
what's his name? Turaki-led National King Committee.
And that the convention is valid. So you see back and forth.
And then the wicked faction will go to court again. Once it goes to Supreme Court, there is a possibility that PDP may not be able to participate.
All this one are going to be done within the next 55 days when they will start submitting.
That means they will not be able to submit their
primary.
Digital membership. That they have 34 days.
Digital membership, and even be able to submit a candidate. So because you know what it means now, another court has just voided the one that came up before. So it's just becoming drama. This is just coming drama
Couple
for
of persons have
opposition
complained that the
parties.
political space is actually quite boring because it feels like
if
APC
it goes
sort
in
of-
this, if it goes in this form, Esther, it will not be interesting because
Yeah.
we only just go to see one party just doing
their thing.
just doing their thing,
And every
going
other
on.
person-
everyone will just be trailing behind.
like
and
the president said, he's
Yeah.
happy to see them in Disari.
yeah, he's happy to see them in this area, and he said he did not carry gun to shoot anybody to join this party. So that's the truth.
I'm laughing in pains, actually.
Well,
I'm laughing in pains.
we are heading towards a one-party election in 2027.
It actually feels like it. So let's look at the insecurity currently. We were hearing that the Bauchi's Bala Mohammed was going to defect to the APC, but apparently he went to visit the president because of the insecurity in his state. Fintiri has defected to the APC. Meanwhile, we had 25 persons killed in twin attacks in his state just yesterday. And the United Nations is warning of deepening Northeast crisis. So while the state governor is defecting to APC amidst a celebratory stance, right, it is very possible, like literally possible, that the situation in the north, especially with Lakurawa, Iswap and Mamuda, is getting worse. I mean, they were crying lately. We saw them gathered, especially some of them who ran away, gathered and crying. We saw a core member being brutalized, dehumanized, where he was begging them. They were stepping on him like he was not a human being. I mean, we're seeing this every day. It now seems like something that is normal, that is expected. Reverend Achomo is calling out the U.S. troops who came, that they never visited Plateau State, and he says they're ready to fight. I saw a tweet yesterday, somebody saying that if you're going along Plateau Road and you're a Muslim, you have to be careful. A Fulani person, you have to be careful. The citizens are now retaliating. And now the repercussion could be that even if you know nothing, you could be targeted because you are a Fulani. They're complaining that the Fulani militias are decimating their communities and literally wanting to eviscerate them. They're calling on the government of the day to do something as fast as possible, and that the U.S. troops, he was the one who called on Trump for help, but they haven't come to visit Plateau. So do you think this could become something else if the government does not do something quickly?
You see, I'm actually not too comfortable with the way the American and Nigeria government is actually handling this issue. This Christian genocide is actually prevalent in the North Central. That is the Plateau, Aziz, down to Benue and all that. But we have not even seen anything that's been mentioned about, how these people are going to be liberated. Since they started talking that they are in collaboration together with the American government. Well, apart from the Sokoto bomb blast of Christmas Day, nothing has happened any longer. So the call by Reverend Achomo is very, very necessary, because I expect, even though they said American troop is not going to be at the war front, they're only coming for intel and training, but one would have expected that they would have also visited for morale boosting to these people that have been crying of genocide. The way they are ostracized, the way their matter is always just being like played down, it's not encouraging. Then this taking laws into their hands is as a result of frustration, that anybody that they now see whether you are a terrorist or not, just because you bear that name, you are from that region, you are from that race, then you are now bounced on. It's just out of frustration. This is where we say we don't allow this matter to not degenerate to this extent. And when it goes beyond this level, we're not talking a civil war, now start coming in, racial discrimination ethnic discrimination start coming in. That was what happened in Rwanda, where you now see that the two major ethnic groups now saw themselves as enemy and started killing themselves. So we never wanted this situation to degenerate to this extent. That's why we're still calling on National Security Advisor. Now that they are here on ground, at least he should be able to even take them around. Let's just visit and kind of give these people hope and morale booster that everybody is included in this security of this nation. Nobody is being sidetracked or being maligned. Whether you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, we want to secure Nigeria. Since they announced that they've landed Nigeria, American troops, we've not heard anything about them. But I know too well that the Office of the National Security Advisor is working with these people. But they are not even telling Nigerians what is going on. Everything is just lie low. And we keep hearing of killing on daily basis. Unfortunately, filtering is going to APC. And look, the Madagali that they raided in Adamawa, that's his own local government. And it's even his own people. I don't know going to APC, if that is going to bring...
there are talks now that state, which is Atiku State,
yes,
now that it's not an APC state, does Atiku still have an influence in the state?
Oh no, it's actually going to be difficult, because now he is even doing his second tenure to start with. He's leaving, but he's leaving. But he's going to look for a political son that he's going to nurture
Yeah.
to take over from him. I don't know how Atiku will be able to find his feet in his state to be able to actually stamp in ADC as it is.
And does he still have that clout then? If his state has now been lost to the APC, does he have that clout?
He has,
persons are clamoring that he should be the flag bearer.
He has, but you know the machinery of the state is in the hands of the governor. He has all it takes. So whoever the governor supports might have a bigger relief as far as the political situation is concerned, because the governor has the finance, he has all the security, you know, to himself.
Just like that of Kwankwaso. Now, with the recent council local government elections in Kano, obviously APC won.
APC won, and even the by-election, APC won. So
it's possible that all of those big wigs now, the APC now has their stake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said earlier, Esther, that we are almost going to see a one-party election.
30 states now.
A one-party election in 2027, because even if other parties now make impact, they may not even be able to secure some of the state governors any longer. It may just be maybe House of Assembly and maybe.
So should the opposition just support Tinubu? Because some people are saying, okay, fine, some opposition just support Tinubu. There's no need. But then Tinubu did not give the opposition that time to say, let me support you.
No,
he didn't support the government of the day for Jonathan.
Opposition supporting Tinubu is a slide on Nigerians. Not even.
But are you sure the opposition is not supporting him? With the look of things right now.
No. About Nigerians, Nigerian is talking about that we APC have not fared well, and we need another party to rescue us. So if we are talking of opposition, also opposition cannot support. We can't begin to talk of one party election in 2027 general election. We should be talking about how to assist the opposition to strengthen at least one or two opposition parties.
Did you hear what Amaechi said? When the opposition is ready, Nigerians will be ready.
Nigerians
at this stand now are the opposition. There is no active political party aside from the AAC, aside from Showare's party, that has been consistent.
That one is consistent, and it has not had the government have not been able to infiltrate it. But you know too well why that is happening, because the leader of that party is almost in and out. Today is in the cell, tomorrow is out, and so they just see him like somebody like a tree. When the bird lean on a rope, the rope cannot have peace. So that's why they just live in that manner, and that's the only party now that is not in court with any of this leadership tussle.
So should Nigerians go for them then?
Well, if it is the one we can adopt, and if we really say we want to challenge APC, why not?
Why not?
We saw that Nigerians adopted the Labour Party in some few months to the election, and it came out so well.
But do you think that same dynamic can play now? Few months of the elections, was it like 6 months of the elections?
6 months.
But we have barely. Okay, we still have a couple.
No, the election is still. The election is still up to like a year from now. But the issue is that the primaries. The
submission of membership,
which has just come up,
and
the submission of the candidates list to INEC. These are the issues, because the political party has to put their house in order to be able to come out with their candidate genuinely and say this is the candidate from our party to INEC, because there is also a time frame. By the time you submit, you cannot change any longer. The next thing that will not be a court case. Oh, this is not the right person, and the right person will not say I was pushed out. You see, that will be another court case that may come up. So
all these they are smart, they would create a portal and start.
No. These are digital things. Digital things, and
they are smart.
If really they are talking about rescuing Nigeria, this is where Nigeria will know their seriousness and say, okay, though we don't have time, but we're able to achieve this. One can understand. None of them is new to politics. They are political bigwigs. They should be able to know that there is no way the ruling party will open its door and say, "Come and take."
Obviously
push
not.
Out of our seat. No, it's not everybody that will just be like Jonathan, who submitted.
Yes.
So especially when the sitting president has been so dogged right from 1999 to today. Look at all the battle he has fought before he got here. So you should not know that you are dining with a very strong person. Go and get a strong spoon. I don't want to use the other word, Esther.
All right. Mr. Elvis Alimehele, thank you so much for actually, joining us on the World News at 6. I sincerely do appreciate your input.
Thank you, Esther. Have a blessed evening.
All right. And just before we go, let's look at stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Former U.S. President Bill Clinton says he saw nothing and he did nothing wrong in his opening statement to U.S. lawmakers about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton says if he knew of Epstein's crime, he would have turned him in himself. The former president also criticizes the committee for making his wife, Hillary Clinton, testify on Thursday, saying she had nothing to do with Epstein. In a 6-hour testimony, Hillary Clinton said she had no idea about Epstein's crimes and called the session partisan political theater. Republicans say they'll release video of Hillary Clinton's testimony either later on Friday or Saturday. Images of the former president were published in the Epstein files, and he has previously said he took trips on Epstein's plane. Clinton denies any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, and there is no suggestion that appearing in the Epstein documents implied wrongdoing. That's a wrap on the world news at 6. My name is Esther Wachiku. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. To kindly stay with us for the evening rush. Today we're going to be actually introspecting, literally introspecting on the current happenings in the country. So do not miss the program at 7 o'clock. Thank you for staying with us.